But underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.
So when you say not a success, it's a tremendous success. The fake news likes to say how well they're doing. They're doing terribly. They have 350% inflation. When the war started, they had like 6%, 5%. They want to make a deal, but they don't know how to make a deal, and then they go around shooting ships at night. I don't like that. You know, they're dealing with very fine people. They're dealing with Steve Witkoff. They're dealing with Jared Kushner and J.D. Vance, and they're dealing with Marco and Scott. They're dealing with great people, but I don't know. I think they're a little loco. They're a little crazy. But they told us they'd like to go to the funeral of a person who was killed a lot of people. Khomeini killed a lot of people over the years, and there for a long time. Don't forget, what we did should have been done 47 years ago. It could have been done any time within 40. This has gone on for, they were the bully of the Middle East. So they're a much different country. Now, in one day, all of their anti-aircraft things are gone. That doesn't mean they're not going to get a plane at some point. But all of it's gone. Everything's gone. Their leaders are gone. They had leaders, they're gone. And they had another set of leaders, they're gone. Now they have another set of leaders, they may be gone. Who knows? And you know what? I may be gone too, because I'm their number one target. It's out all over the place. I'm their number one, because they're scum. That's the way they act, and that's the way they've done it for 47 years. But I'm doing what's right for the country. I'm doing really what's right for the world. They have to be stopped. And they've killed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. They killed 52,000 protesters over the last 3 months. So when you say we're not doing well, I think we're doing phenomenally well. Our military has been incredible. Plus, we had a blockade. Did we have a blockade? Did you ever see a blockade work that way? You know, for you that said we're not doing well.
If you're the CEO of an abortion pill company and you send an abortion pill into the state of Florida to murder a child, we are going to sign a warrant for your arrest. We will have you extradited to Florida, and we will have you arraigned and charged for first-degree murder as an accomplice.
This 4th of July, I say celebrate a black woman that you know, because whether it's an invention that she made or whether it's the very democracy that still hangs by a thread right now, there is a black woman to thank for her contributions. When it comes to answering the question of what America owes black women, the answer is everything. When we think about the sacrifices that black women have made from the moment that we were stolen from our homelands and transported into this country.
You said today that countries like Spain, Italy, and the UK were not there for the U.S. and its war with Iran. Should those countries be attacked, will the U.S. be there for them?
Well, I'll tell you what, number one, Spain has been very bad, but, you know, Italy's been good, and almost all of the countries have been good. They just had a bad moment. They didn't help us. We didn't need their help, but if we would have wanted their help, I said, by the way, if I want help, sir would rather remain on the sidelines, and I didn't like that answer. UK gave an answer that was sort of weirder than that. They went out. I said, would you like to help? They said, we do, but we want to wait till the war is over. This was not in the spirit of Winston Churchill. So, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I can only say if there's one word that comes out of today, it's unification. I've never seen anything like it. Every one of those countries, they love us, they love each other. That was tremendous unification. It was a nice thing to say, and it was a very fair question, too. Okay. Go ahead, Red.
Mr. President, you said today, Inez de la with MS Now, you said today that countries...
You're with who?
MS Now.
MS Now, that's a failing network. Why would you want to work for them? MS Now, can you imagine? They wanted to get away. They took the name NBC because they were embarrassed by it. Go ahead, let's go. When do you hear this question?
While conspiracy theorists insist no 30-06 could possibly behave this way, the round blasted into Charlie Kirk's neck, crushed his vertebra, and ricocheted downward toward his heart. only to be stopped dead by his legendary Superman neck of super-dense steel-like bone. It created no exit wound and lodged harmlessly just beneath the skin, which experts hailed as a miracle that saved the bystanders standing behind him. Up on the rooftop, Tyler Robinson didn't just break down his rifle. He shredded it apart in a ridiculous hyperspeed blur using nothing but his bare hands. Then he sprinted across the roof and launched himself off the edge with expert parkour precision. Tyler made the conscious expert decision to reassemble his rifle one last time and place it under a tree in a bush. He then changed back into his blue jeans and maroon t-shirt in hyperspeed. Time for ice cream.
Is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
All right, Wednesday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. I love Aggravain says Tyler Robinson, super assassin off of the pregame. I mean, there's absolutely no way it happened that way. There's no way it's I mean, again, I'm not going to get into Tyler Robinson much tonight, but it's almost like everything. Because you know what? It is everything. Everything's a lie. I mean, we get spoon-fed these absolute lies day in and day out. Then we elect the people who continue to spoon-feed us those lies. Stand by those lies and profit off of those lies. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of it, aren't you? So sick and tired of it. I hope that there's legitimate James Fishbeck-esque. I hope he is legitimate. What we thought Trump was, what Trump actually was for a period of time until whatever happened to him has happened. It looks like the MOU's dead. And so what is this is day 132 of the war. I want to welcome everybody to day 132 of the war. Not going to talk about the war tonight. That's off. There's not one slide on the war, thank goodness. But I just want to welcome you to 132 days of the 4-day war. Everything's a lie. I mean, it just really is. Everything's a lie. What are the real reasons behind everything? That's what needs to be found out. Basically, with the exception of like QAnon idiocy and things like that, basically every conspiracy theory ends up being right. All right, let me say to everybody in the chat, Granted 2468 is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Keep it 1376 is on. Aggravain, as previously mentioned, is on. LaSkunk Schwartz, that's a new one for me, is on. Dead Pal 50 is on. Annie Mama's on. Let me see here. Peg McGroin is on. Joe Zook is on. Keep it 1376 is on. Sedensmore is on. General Plowman is on. Guitar Glenn is on. K4 VMS is on. Those Jesus People is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. Let me see here. Jules 21 Hours is on. Deb Pal Fitty is on. Captain Cliff is on. Deb Nude 2011 is on. Laura Jean Lynn is on. Scrolling down. Jeannie Malfeasy is on. Let me see here. Somebody I haven't seen yet. Scrolling down. Jim Brody is on. Conservative Waffle is on. PD Frank is on. Scrolling down. The one and only Release the Hog is on. Graybeard is on. Swethy is on. Snag Dog is on. Let me see. Scrolling down. Somebody I haven't seen yet. Arcadia Angel is on. Pumpkin Drifting on Wood is on. Let me grab one or two more. Skunk71 is on. LEG is on. Scrolling down. Bagel Boy is on. Let me see here. Let me see. Scrolling down. I'm grabbing. Oh, the great T1AU is on. Trying to get to the bottom here. I'll give it one or two more scrolls. Let me see here. Grab one or two more. Sunwoo 45 is on. Steffa Toms is on. Gold Shaw is on. Let's scroll down to the bottom. Holy moly, I can't get, look at that. I can't even get to the bottom. Uncle Wally is on. Milwaukee James is on. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. All right, let's start off with Johnny Thune tonight. Grace Chong video. Bannon, big story today. The Senate Leadership Fund is pouring money into Ohio and Iowa because candidates are running behind Democrats. So the Democrats are putting out devout communists. Not socialists, devout communist. Socialism is just as bad. But anyway, devout communists, and we can't even hold Ohio and Iowa right now. Why is that? Because MAGA has fallen. Not trying to be negative. I'm really not trying to be negative. I hope we win the midterms. I hope President Trump is not impeached. I hope he turns it around and makes our economy great, makes the country great, lowers the national debt, builds the wall, does mass deportations, all the things that he promised. I hope that he does. I hope he brings back Elon Musk and we have Doge again. I hope all of those things. I really do. And if he does, I'll cover every last one of them because I refuse to be blackpilled. I'm not going to lie about the good things President Trump does, and I'm not going to lie about the bad things that President Trump does. Either one. It's like I don't do with Democrats or any subject matter whatsoever. But anyway, so right now we are struggling. We are struggling because a lot of the people in our coalition have said, you know what, MAGA's not working. I'm going to go vote Democrat. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Because if you heard any debate with Alex Jones versus Sneeko, who's on the streets demanding Islamic revolution inside of New Yorkistan is what he's called. And that was a former conservative commentator. Sneeko used to be really good buddies with Nick Fuentes. They've had a falling out. But anyway, so he was on Alex Jones and they were debating. And Alex Jones said, so if I'm anti-Muslim, that makes me pro-Israel. But if I'm pro-Israel, then I'm anti-Muslim. No, you know what? I'm anti-both. That you can do that, you know. And what I mean by that is I'm anti the Israeli government controlling our government. And I am anti-Islam, period. That's it. I can do both. And because I'm anti-Israeli government controlling our government, this certainly doesn't make me pro-Islam. And again, and that is the way that is. I'm anti the Islamic faith. I am anti Judeo-Christianity because there is no such thing. There is now the new covenant, and it's the only covenant, that'll get you to heaven. So anyway, you don't have to choose. I mean, you don't have to choose between two horrible entities. It's the same thing going on here. You have the Republicans who want us to be an Israeli-controlled state, and then you have the Democrats who want us to be a communist-controlled state. Do I have to choose either one? No. I'm voting Republican coming up in the August primaries, voting for James Fishback here in the gubernatorial primary, and numerous other people. But anyway, I don't have to choose between, being lock, stock, and barrel Republican. And if you're not lock, stock, and barrel Republican, then you're a Democrat or you're anti-conservative. No, I am ultra conservative. So when the Republicans aren't doing conservative things, I point that out, and then I get kicked off of the MAGA train and get called a non-conservative or a Democrat or a panikin, right? No, every time that there's something that's not conservative, I'm pointing it out. So that's what's happening with MAGA right now. And part of the problem with MAGA is people like John Thune. And, I support the Save America Act. I absolutely support it. It's not an incredible expenditure. It's not like the big, beautiful boondoggle, $1.7 trillion worth of debt added to the national debt. The Save America Act is to force Democrats to actually clean up their voter rolls, to demand voter ID, to demand proof of United States citizenship before you vote. All those things, which you already have to do in Florida. In Florida, you have to present an ID to vote. That's the way that is. But anyway, so that's what that's about. And, there's other things attached to it, but on the whole, that's what it's about. So I'm 100% for it. Why is it not happening? Because of John Thune and Mitch McConnell, wherever he's at. So Bannon, big story, the Senate Leadership Fund is pouring money into Ohio and Iowa because candidates are running behind Democrats after failing to support the basic MAGA policies the grassroots came out in droves to support in 2024. That's the problem. Trump's not doing it anyway. Play it for me.
here in a moment. It's a big story today that the Senate Leadership Fund is going to pour money into Ohio and Iowa because the candidates there are running behind Democrats because they're not supporting basic MAGA policies that the MAGA grassroots would come out in droves to support, like in 2024. The citizens out there get the joke. So Thune thinks his safety here is to raise more donor money that hate mass deportations. And
we just had the SCOTUS ruling now where parties can now send basically unlimited amounts of money in support of candidates, which I don't care. It's all free speech to me. I think you should be able to pour whatever money in you want to pour in. I mean, I do. They're like, well, Tom, that could get Democrats elected. Well, it'll get Republicans elected too. So, I mean, I don't care about campaign finance, restraints, all those things. I'm not in favor of any of that. It's a violation of the First Amendment. So that's fine that they're doing that. Now Johnny Thune is going and implementing this because none of these people, none of these candidates, you look at whatever Senate candidates you want, whether it's Murkowski, whether it's Collins, whether it's the ones in Iowa, whether it's the ones in Ohio, they're not MAGA. Remember, these are the people that met in the Doral Golf and Country Club, which Trump owns also down in Dade or Broward County, whichever it is. And it's Dade County, I believe. Yeah, Doral is Dade County. But anyway, they all met down there and said, you know what, take mass deportations off of the agenda so that we can all get elected in September, September, October, in the elections, in the 2026 elections. How's it working out? It's not working out. Because people like me, I shouldn't say people like me because I'm always going to vote. I know there's people that aren't going to vote and they're going to protest by not voting, which that's up to you. That's fine. I get why you're not doing it. That's just not where I'm at right now. But I mean, it could get to that place. I may skip certain politicians. I will never vote for Byron Donalds. Not going to happen. Yeah. So if Byron Donalds wins the primary, I'm not voting for him. I'm just going to skip. I'll go to the next Republican. I just won't vote on that one. But anyway, because I'm tired of voting for a Democrat that calls himself a Republican. I.e., that's what Donald Trump has become. He really has. I hope he changes. He's doing some great things that Democrats don't do. But on the whole, $3 trillion worth of debt in a new war. Here we are again. Day 132 of a 4-day war. Dragged into it that even Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden weren't stupid enough to get dragged into this war. Because it's unwinnable. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk about the war, so I won't do it. But anyway, but this is why we can't get the voters out. Because you voted for no new wars. You voted for a wall. You voted for mass deportations. Don't hand me that over the last 2 weeks we've averaged 2,000 deportations a day. I'm glad that they're doing that. I'm glad that Mark Wayne Mullins is doing that as DHS secretary. I'm glad that's happening. But 2,000 per day is still less than 1.5 million a year. So Aaron and I did the math at one point. But anyway, I'll do it again. But anyway, it's not nearly enough. 30 million were let in by Joe Biden. This is why. So people aren't enthusiastic. You have got to lick the boots of your base. You have got to kiss the butt of your base. And they're not doing it. They don't care about people like us. They don't. Oh, thank you, Aaron. So 2,000 per day, we're gonna end up with 730,000 deportations in a year, but we've only been doing this since July.
Yeah.
What is there in July 8th?
Yeah.
So we've only been doing it midway, probably the last 2 weeks. So really since July. I mean, late June. So really, we'll get half of that. So we'll get 400,000 deportations this year. We have 30 million that Biden let in. And how many do we have before Biden got in office? So it doesn't do anything. So people are not enthusiastic. Good luck getting people out. People can't afford. It's all coming out. The numbers are all coming out. That the reason why housing is unaffordable, and I mean rent and buying a house, is because of what Biden did, allowing in all the illegals, which I'll get to later on because I will get to my border part tonight. Look how thick that is. Look how thick the border part is. I'm going to get through every slide too, boys. Every slide. But anyway, go to the next one for me. John Thune could force the SAVE Act to the floor, but 1,580,000 explains why he won't. From Brianna Morello. Why won't Senate Leader John Thune force rhinos to unify behind the Save America Act? When you examine his campaign donors, the answer becomes clear. Major industries that rely heavily on cheap labor, an amnesty bill like the Dignity Act would provide. Yeah, and there was lots of Republicans behind the Dignity Act, too. I thought that Republicans were anti-illegal migration, anti-illegal border invasion. They're not. It's all a lie. He's a liar who lies. And then lies about his lies. That's who John Thune is. And basically every other Republican, too. Thought Trump was the exception? He's not. Thune has received, as you see on the screen, $1.5 million from agriculture, construction, hospitality, and elder care centers, which all depend on illegal workers, illegal migrant workers. But you're like, well, we couldn't fill those spots. That's another lie that the liars lie about and then lie about their lies. We have plenty of Americans that could actually do it. Plenty of Americans, but the illegals drive down the wages, so Americans won't do the jobs, allegedly, but it'll end up having to do them. Because you know what? Right now, you better have a job. You better be finding a job because basically life is unaffordable. Now the American Accountability Foundation, in partnership with the Mass Deportation Coalition, has launched a website to hold Senate Majority Leader John Thune accountable for being bought and paid for by the illegal labor lobby. That's what it's all about. Everything's a lie. It's who's funding these people. Is it AIPAC? Is it the illegal labor lobby? Whoever it is, who's funding these people, that's what they vote for. That's all they care about is Johnny wants the 1.5 million and he gets other people that give him millions too. And then he lives off of these campaigns. He has his wife or his daughter or his firm or whatever it is buy the campaign ads and they get 10% of that. Then he funnels the money to various other entities that funnel it back to him. It's all about that. Everything's a lie. He looks conservative, doesn't he? He's got the right haircut. He's got the right build. He looks conservative, but he's not. It's all a lie. They, by the way, all of these people are professional liars. They lie with demonic conviction. You almost couldn't tell. They might even be able to beat a polygraph because they're so demonic in their lies. Let's go to the border. All over. Borders everywhere. Red Wave press video. I'm going to roll through these in a hurry. I'm not going to stop and talk about a lot of them in detail, but I just want to show you the horror show. Where are the mass deportations? They're doing 2,000 a day. That will give us 400,000 this year because they only started a month ago. Where are they? Well, at least they're doing them. Is that going to be our mantra from now on? Well, at least they're better than the Democrats. Is that it? Do you think that at least being better than Democrats is going to solve our $40 trillion debt problem? All right, so anyway, Red Wave press video, horrific. A non-English speaking Uzbek national, shocking, and commercial truck driver, of course, admitted to the U.S. through the diversity visa lottery under the Biden administration, killed a University of Massachusetts Lowell soccer star and after ramming the back of his vehicle in Ohio over the weekend. That's why nobody's going out and voting for Republicans in Ohio. Play it for me.
Here at home to get to a soccer star player at UMass Lowell was killed in a car crash in Ohio over the weekend after his car was allegedly hit by a semi-truck that was being driven by a migrant truck driver who didn't speak English. 21-year-old Toby Forsyth was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect, an Uzbekistan national, entered the U.S. under the Biden administration via the diversity visa lottery program. He was arrested on one count of tampering with evidence after allegedly trying to rip off his dash camera and smash it before handing it over to police. The incident remains under investigation.
You know, it's never good when you've come into the country via the diversity visa lottery. And we have the word diversity. You know, a lot of Republicans were voting for the same thing too, by the way. So anyway, here you have another horrendous tragedy. They couldn't even communicate with the guy on scene. He can't speak English. If you can't speak English, Aaron, can you read the word stop?
No.
Okay. Can you read the word miles per hour?
No.
Okay. Can you read our numbers?
Nope.
Okay. How they get a CDL? Because Democrats give it to them. But we can't even beat Democrats now because we don't keep our word. Why are these people still here? If we would have done mass deportations like we were supposed to be doing from January 20th of 2025 until now, would that guy even be in this country? Now it takes, you know what? They have to kill an American. And then it's discovered after the American's already dead, and then they get deported. All right, Nick Sortor video, breaking former Milwaukee judge Hannah Dugan, everyone remembers her, who was convicted of felony obstruction for helping an illegal evade ICE, has been sentenced to no prison time, just a $5,000 fine. Play for him.
John, well, this was a landmark case in the fight over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, and this sentence came down no prison time and just a $5,000 fine for former Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, which is far less than the 5 years behind bars that she was looking at. U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman explained that prison time was not necessary given Dugan's decades of public service, saying there is no indication the defendant acted for personal or private gain. This isn't like the cases of public corruption, this is a situation where an otherwise good person, upset by immigration enforcement in this country, a sentiment widely shared, made a bad decision in the moment. Ahead of that sentencing, we also heard from Hannah Dugan for the first time since her trial started back in December, and the former Milwaukee judge expressed no remorse for guiding federal agents away from her courtroom and sending the illegal immigrant they were waiting for out a back door. In fact, she told the judge her acts that day were consistent with community concerns at the courthouse, and she said, "I will not let those minutes define my life's work. It is my intent to return to public service." Now, that return to public service could be any number of things, including a possible return to the bench if her defense team is able to get this verdict overturned on appeal, which is what they've said they are now going to try to do. John?
But if they don't, she can't go back to being a judge. We'll see how it goes.
So just to show you how the system is rigged, here you have a leftist activist judge who's tried before who? A Obama appointed leftist activist judge named Lynn Edelman. And imagine if it was a Biden policy of mass deportation and you helped, it was a Biden policy. So Lynn Edelman, being the whore that he is, it's actually a man named Lynn, strike one. But anyway, he being the political whore that he is, if you were to violate a Biden policy of mass deportation, we know that didn't happen, I'm just saying. I mean, Obama was pretty much a mass deporter. So anyway, you violated it as, it's a Democrat policy, and you violated Democrat policy. It's hard to even put it into a sentence because we know Democrats would never be rational enough to do mass deportations. But anyway, you violate the policy, you would go to prison. But instead, you have a leftist judge, Hannah Dugan, tried before another leftist judge. She gets a $5,000 fine, all right? No prison time. You would go to prison. I would go to prison. She won't. And it's going to be overturned on appeal. Here's the thing. What would be really great is if she was sitting in prison and had to appeal it. But that's not going to happen because it's all rigged. Everything's a lie. Every last thing, Tom, pretty much every last thing that you see is a lie. The judicial system is completely corrupt. Look what they did to Donald Trump. But Tom, you're anti-Trump. Not anti-Trump. I'm anti-Trump doing anti-conservative things. I'm anti-conservatism. That's it. When Trump does a conservative thing, you see me report on it. And you see me sing his praises. I call it the greatness of Trump. I think part of what turned Trump into being what he is now, which is a money grubber, is because he's like, you know what? I tried to stand up the first time, and I nearly lost everything I had and went to prison for the rest of my life. Can you say I can't blame him? Yeah, you still have to blame him. Okay, but because you don't become corrupt because corruption attacked you. That's not what you do. So, anyway, you just see it's all, everything is corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. If Donald Trump wasn't president, he'd be in prison right now because the DC Circuit would have affirmed that he was guilty basically of insurrection or seditious conspiracy under Jack Smith. The only case that he would have won was Eileen Cannon's case down in West Palm Beach, Florida. The judge that was the documents case, who basically threw out the case because Jack Smith was illegally appointed. That was never, even though you're illegally appointed inside of DC, it wouldn't matter because they put Bannon and Navarro in federal prison as the only two convicted misdemeanor offenders in federal prison, because they refused to obey a congressional subpoena from a non-select committee that doesn't have the ability to issue subpoenas. Tom, you must have misstated that. No, they were an unselect committee. The judges all knew it. They didn't even have the right to issue subpoenas, and they convicted them anyway. The judge should have overturned it. This is like the myriad of times you'll hear me say, why are we even having an evidentiary hearing in the Tyler Robinson case? Because it's absolutely impossible that Charlie Kirk was shot with a .30-06, regardless of whether you think the CIA did it, Mossad did it, Israel did it, whatever. Or you even think Tyler Robinson played some part. He did not get shot by the gun that Tyler Robinson left in the woods. That didn't happen. Why do we even need to continue on? In a lot of these cases, it's just like this. Hannah Dugan is on video committing felony obstruction of a federal officer, and yet she gets nothing. Trump was going to spend the rest of his life in federal prison. Bannon went to federal prison. Navarro went to federal prison. Why? Because they refused to respond to an unlawful subpoena. Right there, the trial's over. It's an unlawful subpoena, but nobody does it. Why? Because everybody is benefiting off of whatever political entity they're a parasite on. That's it. It really is that way. All these judges, they're all political appointees. They're Democrats and Democratic donors, or Republican and Republican donors. But the Republican judges are infinitely more fair. I will say that for sure. All right, go to the next one. Breaking 9/11 video. An illegal alien from Haiti, this is a couple days old, but I had to put it in here, has been charged in the death of Pennsylvania state trooper after authorities say he struck the trooper with a truck. Play it for me.
A truck driver in a crash that killed a Pennsylvania state trooper should not have been in this country. The feds say a Haitian national living in Massachusetts veered his semi off Interstate 81 last week and hit Trooper Michael Pahira Jr. DHS says that driver lost his parole status last year and was ordered to leave the U.S. CB Cotton has more on this tragic story. CB.
Hey, John. So investigators say this past Wednesday, Michael Bond, an illegal immigrant from Haiti, was driving that tractor trailer, which veered off onto the shoulder of Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, crashing into another semi and fatally striking state trooper Mike Pahira, who was conducting another commercial vehicle inspection. Bond now faces a slew of charges for this chain reaction crash, including homicide by vehicle. DHS tells Fox Bond entered the U.S. in July 2024 under the Biden administration's humanitarian parole program, later applying for temporary protected status, but his application was denied. Federal sources tell Fox the Trump administration then terminated his legal status in June 2025 and ordered him to leave the country, but he didn't.
So he was ordered to leave the country. He didn't. He was brought in by the Democrats. And now a trooper is dead who was there on the side of the road doing his duty, doing what he's supposed to be doing. And now he's dead because we have another CDL holder who doesn't qualify to hold a CDL. And here's the thing. I want to see where all of these come from. And these people need to be held accountable. Mostly coming from Gavin Newsom in California. He has the highest percentage of issuing CDLs to people who cannot pass the CDL test. How do they get a CDL when the CDL test is uniform? Where you have to have I can't remember what they are now. I did on the show what your percentages had to be. You have to be able to read signs, obviously. You need to be able to pass a sign test. None of them can. None of them do. And yet they're issued CDLs anyway. Why would that be? Why does John Thune want to keep them in the country? The same as Gavin Newsom, because they profit off of it. That's why they all profit off of it. You're like, they don't receive direct money from it. No, they receive the money from the NGOs that are funding keeping all these people in the country. All these parole programs, that all goes to an NGO. The NGO does the paperwork. They get paid. You and I pay for the people to stay in this country that run over our citizens. You and I pay for it. And Donald Trump's funding it too through the big, beautiful bill. I know people don't want to hear it, but it's true. It's true. We're still funding all these NGOs. That's what it's really all about, is all of our tax dollars are $40 trillion in debt, really $188 trillion, maybe up to $300 trillion in debt. All of that money goes to politicians enriching themselves and enriching the orbits around them that then enrich them even more. That's all that it is. You solve that problem, it's all over. We could actually pay this debt off. You could. You simply do what Elon Musk said. What happened to Elon Musk? He gets kicked out. Susie Wiles makes sure he leaves. Because make sure Susie profits off all this stuff too. You're like, well, how does that make sense? Because they're bankrupting their own country and eventually their own money would be worthless. I guess they don't get that. Because I don't have an answer for that. I've said it 1,000 times. I don't get an answer for it, but that's why. You're like because people are like, they're not getting direct money. It's not like CDLs, CDL license holders are sending a check to Gavin Newsom. No, it's just like, how do you have 1,200 hospice centers in LA alone? And no Republican does a thing about it. It's all federally funded. Why does no Republican do anything about it? Because they invest in them. They find out, well, there's a huge budget for hospice centers. Here's the federal dollars going to it. What's the name of the hospice center? ABC Hospice. And what do? They invest in it 3 months before anybody else finds out where that money's going. That's what it's all about. We're the Ro Khannas of the world who comes out with this demonic conviction about being a centrist. No, Ro Khanna has thousands and thousands of stock trades per year, made $53 million last year. $53 million as a congressman. Nancy Pelosi, over $300 million she's made. But Paul Pelosi just got in another accident and left the scene again. See who these horrible, wretched people are. Go to the next one. Brianna Morello tweet. Take a look. The Department of Transportation claims 28,000 illegal aliens carrying CDLs have been revoked. Those are the only ones. That's not how many are actually held. That's how many have been revoked. Border Czar Tom Homan says he does not know the total number of illegals with CDLs because blue states won't hand over the details. Around 6, and again, that's not legal. What do you do? You have to have the balls to do what it takes. Cut off all their funding, period. Cut off all their funding. That's how you handle Israel too, by the way. You don't want Israel to continue to bomb Lebanon? Cut off all their funding. Cut up, but what do we do instead? We pass 622 in the Senate and 214 in the House and merge our militaries and intelligence programs with them. Why? Why do you think? Why do you think? Because the politicians voting on it profit off of it. I mean dollars, profit off of it. Around 650,000 to 720,000 foreign-born drivers hold CDLs in the U.S. Holy crap. And not one of them can read a sign. How do you know? How do they even read anything on their own dashboard? Because they don't speak freaking English. But Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker hand them CDLs. This is the greatness of Trump, at least going after them. At least 28,000 out of the 720,000 have been revoked, which again isn't enough. But thank goodness we're bombing the crap out of Iran. We have our own people are dying every day because of an illegal border invasion. But what are we doing? Bombing a country 7,000 miles away. We got our own problems here. The number of foreign-born truckers more than doubled from 316,000 in 2000 to doubled in 26 years. Not even 21 years to 720,000 in 2021. And that's not an invasion. You don't think we have other things to do? We have plenty of other things to do. Go to the next one for me. Brianna Morello video. Arrested. Another illegal alien was arrested in Fairfax County for rape and kidnapping. Play it for me.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security told me he's from El Salvador and he's in the country illegally. I looked into his criminal history and he has a lengthy rap sheet in our area. ICE says just a few days ago, Fairfax County police arrested Juan Arevalo for rape and kidnapping. Arevalo has a long rap sheet, which includes 2 convictions of aggravated assault, 2 for property damage, as well as attempted maiming, failure to appear, aggravated assault with a weapon, assault twice, drug possession, illegal reentry, making a false report, and obstructing justice. He was also previously arrested for assault, abduction, identity theft, drug possession, and larceny. Sean Kennedy with Virginians for Safe Communities tells us some of those crimes might never have happened had Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Descano not dropped previous charges against Arevalo, or if he had notified ICE he was in custody so they could deport him.
He's accused of rape 1, which is the most serious crime in Virginia short of murder. He's eligible for life in prison and previously was arrested after a very dangerous high-speed chase where he put not only officers' lives in danger but a number of people on 495. So this individual is very dangerous and has proven himself a threat to the community and was yet again released by Steve Descano.
And you look at this guy, all right, Juan Arevalo. Okay, you heard all the charges. Just to include a few of them, you had assault, which is kind of the least of them, attempted maiming, abduction, and Steve Descano, District Attorney, lets him out. Fairfax County District Attorney just lets him out. This is going on everywhere. And where are our mass deportations? Where is the wall? This guy gets left in the country. Now, the greatness of Trump is Trump would not allow this guy to stay in the country. That's for sure. Trump would deport this guy, but we don't have mass deportations. We don't have a mass deportation program going on. Not at all. So these people continue to stay in the country. He was let in by Biden as usual. And now you have, what's his latest? For rape and kidnapping. Democratic Party. I don't even understand how anybody could ever be a Democrat. I guess Steve Descano believes, you know what? I guess the women that are in his life, if any women are in his life, but anyway, I guess he's insulated. He's safe from them. So then when this guy, you look at the previous charges, abduction, attempted maiming, assault are all left out. And he had a nice detainer placed on him, and they disregarded and let him out. That's the Democratic Party. And here's the thing. I would say the Republicans are better, but they're not, because right now, John Thune is blocking the SAVE Act. John Thune is. That would not allow this guy to vote. This guy probably can vote right now. It's amazing, isn't it? All right, go to the next for me. Real Robert video. Virginia voters are waking up today shocked to find out that Virginia Democrats are voting to exempt themselves from their own new gun control measures that they are imposing. Play it for me.
Madam President, I wish the senator from Eastern Fairfax could hear himself. Because we think this job has gotten dangerous in the last couple of years. Well, how many Virginians out there believe that they're in a situation where they need to protect themselves? But yet we don't listen to them. Well, not me, but this body's not going to listen to them because they think they need to have this protection. We're going to carve something out for General Assembly members. That, to me, is beyond the pale. General Assembly, we are a citizen legislature. We are citizens just like everybody else. We go back home. We interact with their constituents. We're a part of the community. We are no better than anybody else. And we should never vote for a bill that gives us a special privilege over any other citizen.
Now, this is very emblematic of everything that I'm saying as far as everything's a lie. And you're like, well, that's the Democrats. The Republicans are no better. The Republicans are telling us that Tyler Robinson is the shooter. The Republicans told us 15 days to flatten the curve. The Republicans pushed Operation Warp Speed. The Republicans are not building a wall or doing mass deportations. And the Republicans got us into a new war. All right. So again, now the Republicans are anti-abortion, but never do anything to stop it. Except for Donald J. Trump. That's part of the greatness of Trump. At least he put a dent in it by overturning Roe v. Wade. It has been a very positive pro-life president. But then right as soon as Trump's gone, when Trump's not there anymore, you got Mike Johnson funding abortion again, funding trans surgeries for kids. That's just facts. It's over. But this is very emblematic of it all because they do it for themselves. And Aaron brought up a very cogent point because this is just like Obamacare again, where they voted in Obamacare. And they're like, well, it was Republicans that wanted to get rid of it. They had the opportunity to get rid of it and never did. Why would that be? But anyway, because they were exempted themselves from Obamacare and gave themselves their own gold-plated insurance. Everybody knows that, right? So they were exempted from what they inflicted upon the American people, both Republicans and Democrats. And here you have the exact same thing going on here, where you have Virginia legislators, their General Assembly, voting in new gun control measures, while they're voting them and then exempting themselves from the new gun control measures. So the guns that you are not allowed to have, they're allowed to have. I don't mean necessarily specific types of guns, but what I'm saying is they are allowed armed protection and you are not. And this is, by the way, they're all guilty of this, Republicans and Democrats. The example that I always use, how many cops are on Capitol Hill? You have DC Metro Police, and then you have the Capitol Hill Police Force, Capitol Hill Police Department. Capitol Hill Police Department themselves have 2,700 cops for a 2.5 square mile area. Did everybody hear that? Who are they protecting? The 535 and their glorious, fully vaccinated staffs. That's who it is. 2,700 cops. That's almost 3 times. It is more than 3 times the size of the Seattle Police Department, who has 700 to 800 cops, very understaffed. Detroit, 700 to 800 cops. What is Capitol Hill? 2,700 for a 2 square block area. 2 square miles. That's it. 2,700 cops. And here you have in Virginia, you're not allowed to have guns or walls, but we're going to have guns and walls. And whenever we see this, now that was a Republican speaking against it. Good for him. Good for him. Make sure that you exempt yourself, though, too. All right, so let's go to the next one. Ron D. Watkins tweet. Here's another glorious story brought to you by Amy Coney Barrett. Breaking, it was just revealed that the Chinese suspects who tried detonating an IED at a U.S. Air Force base, you got all this, they have the Chinese government suspiciously buying up vacant land all around our military bases. And what's anybody done to stop it? Nothing. Trump has actually spoken in favor of it. You may explain that to me. I would love it. I would love a detailed explanation. But anyway, so Air Force Base were birthright citizens of illegal aliens, and birthright citizenship was just validated and etched in stone by Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, and John Roberts. As they sided with the leftists, Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. So we lost 6-3 on birthright citizenship. And now what do we have? I mean, again, this happened before that, but I'm just saying that now this will continue because of Amy Coney Barrett. These are birthright citizens. These are probably birth tourism citizens. And they tried to detonate an IED at a United States Air Force base. I mean, again, these are Republicans. I'm telling you, it's just all a lie. Tom, there's got to be exceptions. I believe there are exceptions. I believe Tim Burchett's legit. I do. I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene every second of every day, but I believe she's a legit conservative. I do. I believe there's a few other legit conservatives. I believe Senator Ron Johnson's legit. He's put his whole career on the line, nearly got voted out because of his opposition to Operation Warp Speed. I believe Thomas Massie is legit, just lost his seat when $32 million of AIPAC money and Donald Trump were aimed at him. So I believe there are legitimate, but they're very rare. Most of it's about personally enriching yourself. That's all that it is. And you're like, that's overly simplistic. Maybe they're just trying to, get better jobs, or maybe they're just trying to become famous. It's all about you want a better job because you get more money or you get more power. That's all that it is. It really is that way. All right, go to the next one for me. Victor Sanchez Fortin. Over 1,200, borders everywhere, over 1,200 white German women from Cologne were raped or sexually, that's one town, one city, were raped or sexually assaulted in 2015 by Muslims from Africa. Only 2 were arrested. 1,215 complaints were actually filed. Merkel and Ursula von der Leyen deserve prison for what they've done. This is totally true. They actually cause, and it's now coming out that 250,000, it's not even women, girls were raped while Keir Starmer was in charge of their CPS for a decade inside of the UK. 250,000 UK girls were raped by Muslim, low IQ, inbred Pakistani Muslims were raped, and nobody cares. And Keir Starmer doesn't care because his daughters weren't raped or his wife wasn't raped. Ursula von der Leyen, who profited heavily off of the vaccines, and Angela Merkel, they don't care because they're insulated from their own policies. But they are causing their own citizens to be mass raped, and it hasn't gotten any better. Germany is an absolute poop storm. It's gotten no better. We were talking about rape rates that are basically almost Russian level when Russia invaded Berlin. Yeah. And nobody cares. And nobody goes to prison because everything's a freaking lie. And they all cover for themselves. They make sure that the next person after them is their clone and that it's obligated to them or is honeypotted by them, extorted by them, controlled by them, or they can promote them, whatever it may be, so they're in control of the person who comes after them. So they are never prosecuted. That's why Donald Trump was the sole exception. That's why Bush was never prosecuted. That's why Clinton was never prosecuted. That's why Obama was never prosecuted. Because the people in the DOJ are all in it with the people. The police are in it with the criminals. That's really how it is. Listen, America has fallen. It has fallen. If you don't want to believe that, that's perfectly fine. Go right. Doesn't mean I don't love America, but it's fallen. We are $40 to $300 trillion in debt. We have fallen. We are corrupt to the gills. You cannot get a fair trial. If you can't get a fair trial, has your country not fallen? If you're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, have you not fallen? When your borders were wide open until Trump took office, has your country not fallen? Trump is opening Trump accounts where each citizen gets $1,000 when we're already $40 trillion in debt. And you keep saying, Tom, you're vacillating in the debt amounts. No, because it's $40 trillion, but what they're leaving out are unfunded liabilities. Medicaid, Social Security, the retirements of all these glorious federal employees that aren't even counted. Again, they're lying to you about the debt to make it more palatable. Do you know that our debt is actually really $188 trillion? And Steve Bannon says it's $300 trillion? But they give you $40 trillion, we all just believe it. Here, just as an example. I'm a big Tour, it makes me sound a little bit gay, but anyway, I'm a Tour de France fan. I like that. I like the Tour de France. I watch it every year, all 3 weeks of it. And I'm watching it today, and they had I think it was stage 3. I'm a couple stages behind, so I believe it was stage 3. They have wildfires going on in France, okay? Now, Tour de France is not just in France. It's right now. Actually, today, most of the race was in Spain. It's in other countries too, but it ends up in France, finishes on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. Until last year, they canceled that because they had the Olympics there. Like, they can't do both because they're idiots. I mean, again, Macron, whatever it is that he's married to, it ain't right. Okay? I mean, Brigitte Macron, you can call it whatever it is, but it isn't right. Okay? But anyway, so today the second half of the race was going to be in France. They crossed from Spain into France. And because there's a wildfire over 100 miles away from anywhere close to the race, they cancel anybody from going and watching the race. You're not allowed to go watch the race. So no fans are allowed on the race course. The fire's 100 miles away. Why would they do that? Because I've said this, I haven't broke this one out in a while, Aaron. Because they're sadomasochistic perverts. It's a pseudo-sexual thing. It really is. Put a mask on them. Put another mask on them. Lock them down. They love the control. You're essential. You're non-essential. They love it. That's what these people are. All these kids, all these women getting raped. All these white German women getting raped by low IQ, inbred Muslims. Imported into the country by these two. Man, this is where I miss cussing because you know what I want to call them. And it's just absolute ridiculousness. They just love to control people. They want people to get raped. They do. Their actions say that they do. All right, let's go to the next one. Tommy Robinson, you can just side by side this one. Tommy Robinson video. Every single dot equals 100 illegal immigrants. Every one of those dots. Into Europe over the last 16 years, 12 million invaders have swamped the continent. Now, how many CDL drivers? Thank goodness we don't have that. Really? Because in 2000, I'm trying to remember what the numbers were. We only had, 100,000 roughly, whatever it was, CDL drivers. It was less than that. Now we have 720,000 in 2021, and way more than that because in 2021, we had 721,000 illegal CDL holders because none of them can pass tests. But what happened? That's 2021. Then you had 4 years of Biden. So we probably have well over 1 million illegal CDL holders. You don't think we have the same problem? How many rapes? How many murders? How many crimes have I already covered tonight? There was at least one rape tonight already. Look at this is real. This is real, and nobody does a thing about it because they're all liars who lie and lie about their lies. That's who these people are. And they all profit off of it. You're like, yeah, but the illegal immigrants, each one of those dots not handing $1 to Ursula von der Leyen. No, they fund the NGOs that help the people. And then the NGOs funnel the money back into the pockets of the politicians that fund them. This is real. This is the real deal. Go to the next one for me. It hasn't over. Oh, no, it's not over. Dr. Poole video. Breaking. These are all new crimes. 4 MS-13 illegal aliens have been arrested in Maryland. It's no big deal. After they hacked a 14-year-old boy to death with a machete. Play it for me.
Pictured on your screen. The fourth is underage and police are not publicly identifying them. All are in custody. This investigation dates back to early November after local officers and FBI agents found a body while searching for a missing person at Indian Creek Stream Valley Park in College Park, Maryland. Our Felicia Ashley reports police say the murders appear to be gang related.
14-year-old Jefferson Amaya Ayala of D.C. was last seen alive here near this street in the Brightwood neighborhood in Northwest D.C. Investigators say that he was killed the same day that he went missing back in August. 7 News learned from investigators that the teen was lured to the Indian Creek Stream Valley Park in College Park. Saturday, law enforcement announced 4 suspects were arrested. The Prince George's County Police Department charged 4 suspects with the murder of Amaya Ayala. 18-year-old Jose Merlos Mahano, 21-year-old Alan Josea Garcia Padilla, and 19-year-old William Quiera Gutierrez. All 3 are from D.C. A 4th suspect is a 17-year-old from Hyattsville. In November, the FBI, MPD, and PG County Police were looking for Amaya Ayala in this park. Instead, they found his body. The medical examiner ruled his death a homicide and found multiple injuries on the 14-year-old's body. Investigators say Amaya Ayala knew at least one of the 4 suspects and said that the murder appears to be gang-related. 7 News confirmed with a source that it's connected to the MS-13 gang.
Why would you import your very own murderers? Why would you do that? Because people are profiting off of it. Eric Doherty video just in. Democrats are raging after Florida has just banned illegal aliens from attending state public colleges by a 6-1 board vote. Play for me.
This week, the Florida Board of Education approved 2 new policy changes that would ban undocumented students from attending Florida's 28 public colleges and adult educational programs.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. All but one Board of Education member voted on the change, a move that now has Florida students and immigrant communities pushing back.
They volunteered, they worked, they took AP classes, they showed up for this state in every single way, and we made a promise to them. And now we are telling them that the finish line has been moved.
Advocates say the impact wouldn't just be felt by students. They argued the change could cost the college system an estimated $15 million in lost tuition and fees. The proposal comes just 1 week after the Florida Board of Governors took their first steps towards adopting a similar ban at state universities. Last year, the legislature voted to remove in-state tuition for undocumented students, repealing a law that had been in place since 2014.
Now that we've addressed the tuition issue and aren't given the tuition breaks for some here legally, then this is the next step.
Supporters like Governor Ron DeSantis say college seats should be reserved for Florida residents and U.S. citizens.
I would rather have that spot go to a Florida resident.
Here at the Capitol, a potential legal hurdle is emerging. A legislative oversight committee is stepping in, sending this letter to the Department of Education. The Joint Administrative Procedures Committee is questioning whether education officials have the legal authority to make these changes without action from the legislature. Right now, it remains unclear whether current students will be affected, as the new policy was written with a focus on enrollment requirements. We'll be keeping a close eye out here at the Capitol. Mackenzie Laporte.
Why is this a discussion? I mean, do you see how ridiculous this is? This is my own home state. Why is this a discussion? Why are we even having a discussion about whether an illegal alien can enroll in college? How are they even here? And you have these idiots on the left. They worked. They volunteered. They paid the price. They're illegal. They have no rights to our education system, paid for or not. And by the way, I could care less if a leftist indoctrination system, i.e. our education system inside of even the state of Florida, namely our college system, loses $15 million. Good. I hope a lot of the colleges close. They're just indoctrination centers for the left. And imagine, you had Ron DeSantis talking about it. They were receiving tuition breaks as illegals. How does this even happen? Do you realize? And that, by the way, that's under DeSantis for the last 8 years. They're getting tuition breaks as illegals. You don't get a tuition break, but they get a tuition break because they illegally entered this country in Florida, which is one of the most right-wing states in the country. How does this make sense to anybody? What? I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's so obvious. I don't know what to say. It's, again, I harken back to the Tyler Robinson trial. There's no way that 30-06 killed him. Why are we even having a preliminary hearing? You're going to have to find the murder weapon. You're going to have to find the murderer. There's nothing even to discuss. Why is this a discussion? Why would you have to have a legislative session to end lowering tuition rates for illegals? Can anybody explain this to me? Aaron, can you help?
No, I can't.
Okay. I mean, why is this even again, it would be like congratulating yourself every day because you're breathing. Okay, that's natural. That's how it should be. Why in the world are we having to outlaw what's already outlawed? Amazing. Dapper detective video. Breaking, here's another one. Pedophile illegal alien from Mexico, working as a soccer coach in Tennessee, pleads guilty to drugging, pedophile illegal alien, but working as a soccer coach. Pleads guilty to drugging the young boys on his team, raping them, and filming it as he does it. Play it for me.
Former Williamson County youth soccer coach pleads guilty today to child sex abuse charges. Camilo Campos Hurtado faces a minimum of 15 years in prison, all the way to life, after pleading guilty to charges including sexual exploitation of a minor. He was arrested back in 2023 after leaving his cell phone at a Franklin restaurant which contained child sex abuse pictures. Campos Hurtado is an illegal alien and will be deported back to Mexico after serving his time in federal prison.
I mean, again, why is he here? How does he get a job as a soccer coach? It's whatever league that he's in, they would have, I'm assuming, done a background check. I mean, this guy, he drugs the young boys, rapes them and films them, and then, I left out one part, and then distributed it. This is who Biden allowed into the country, or our policies allowed into the country. Just skip the next one, Jill. I don't need that one. Let me see. Go, Shock American. This is going. Go to Brandon Straka. Shock. American hospitals are advertising birthing packages. Play it for me.
Well, this is wild and disturbing, but true. American hospitals are advertising in Latin American countries, providing what they're calling birthing packages to expectant mothers so that they can come and have their babies in the United States, therefore creating anchor babies and making their babies American citizens. I kind of didn't believe it was true or real, so I actually looked up the website, which is, and I'm not kidding, havemybabyintexas.com. As you can see right here, havemybabyintexas.com. And it is, in fact, a real website written entirely in Spanish, offering a variety of packages to expecting mothers so that they can come and create anchor babies to create American citizens by giving birth in our country. People like this and this now apparent industry have been emboldened by the decisions of our Supreme Court justices like John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. So this is the direct result of our Supreme Court completely screwing the American people on the issue of immigration.
That's right. The SCOTUS ruling on birthright citizenship has now empowered birth tourism in the United States of America. Now you have hospitals, or a hospital, it says American hospitals, are advertising birthing packages so that people can come into the United States. And of course, NGOs, multinational hospital conglomerates can now profit off of what Amy Coney Barrett, John Roberts, and Brett Kavanaugh have now etched into constitutional law in America. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And again, if you want to still believe in Republican, Democrat, I go right ahead, but it's these Republicans is who did this. Of course the Democrats do it. And because I'm speaking out against Republicans does not make me a Democrat. I speak out against Republicans who refuse to do conservative things. I'm speaking against Republicans who aren't conservative. They're not conservative. New wars is not conservative. No mass deportations after you promised that you would do them is not conservative. Adding $3 trillion to our debt since you've been president is not conservative. $1.7 trillion alone in the big, beautiful bill is not conservative. And don't blame everybody around Trump. It's Trump. He calls the shots. How's the Ukraine war going? Not good. Now we're in another new war. You said no new wars. New wars are not conservative. Interest rates and inflation through the roof is not conservative. That's what I speak out against. All right, let me see here. I'll do the next. I got to show you this. Here is from Libs of TikTok. Here is the St. Louis Park mayor in Minnesota. Play it for me.
On a serious note, I think most Somalis right now are afraid, not necessarily for their immediate safety. Yes, there's always fear that they're going to get hate crimed and things like that. But most of us are afraid we're about to lose our home. Not because we're going to get kicked out, because again, most of us are American citizens, but because when we look at America, we're seeing it slowly dismantle into something that is not recognizable, that America is losing its Americanness, right? Not in the same way that MAGA says it. No.
She's emblematic of Americanness. Oh, do you have that? Do you have the pic of her coming out of the car? Didn't I give that to you
Yes.
for you? Do you have it? Anywhere?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
All right, Joe's finding it. There she is. This is her back home in Somalia. She actually went there recently and marched in the parade. She's born in Somalia, but she's a mayor in America and then talking about Americanism. That's her celebrating. I guess it's like Somali. I guess she's celebrating Somali independence, even though it's just a warlord-controlled nation. But anyway, go to the next for me. New York Post tweet. Biden's illegal immigration surge triggered 30% rise in home prices, 20% in rents. Here's the Mario Nawfal. The Federal Reserve just confirmed what many Americans already suspected. Biden's immigration surge helped price them out of homes. Illegal immigration from 2021 to 2024 accounted for roughly 30% of home price growth, 20% of rent growth in the average U.S. metro area, according to researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. A 1% increase in unauthorized workers relative to a local labor force corresponded with a 2.2% rise in home prices and a 1.4% rise in rents. Home building didn't come close to keeping up. To be fair, the same influx also accounted for about 30% of employment growth with no measurable impact on wages. But the millions who spent those years wondering why they couldn't afford a home, the Fed just gave them somebody to blame. There he is, Joseph Robinette Biden. Now, got to show you this. Off of immigration, onto cabal. Now, you just saw a minute ago where Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the European Union, Angela Merkel, accounted for 1,200 rapes in one town alone in 1 year. From illegal, they made them legal, but I'm going to call them illegal, low IQ, inbred Muslim rapists. 1,200 of their white citizens raped by Muslims. But you know what? No concern about any of that. No problem whatsoever. Shanika Aslam Pereira video. As of this morning, this was yesterday, a brand new car sold in Europe is mandated by law to watch its driver. Don't worry about the rapes. They're going to make sure that they mandate every car sold in Europe is mandated by law to watch its driver. And the reason to worry is the opposite of what everybody's screaming about. The camera is not filming your face. The law explicitly bans that. It rather tracks your eyes. The danger is not what it does today. It is what it is now physically positioned to do tomorrow. This became binding across all 27 countries today, the 7th of July, 2026, and no member state can opt out because road safety in the EU, because road safety is an EU competence. I don't know what that means. An EU law overrides national law. Play it for me.
Everyone comfy back there?
Yes, all good here.
We're playing with the dog.
All right, let's find some music.
Good idea.
That's it. Okay, now, well, thank goodness that isn't happening in America. Shadow of Ezra video. Marco Rubio says in the next few months, the U.S. government will use facial recognition to authenticate your photos for your passport, eliminating the need to go to Walgreens. Oh, peace and safety and convenience. Or CVS for a passport photo. Rubio says this is being done for your own good and to save your time. Our security system will verify the facial ID. Play it for me.
Now, beyond that, I would say that we are also looking at some technological changes, which we'll be more fully able to announce over the coming months, where it's going to be a lot easier to get a passport in terms of the dynamics of it. You'll actually be able to go online. You'll be able to do almost all of it entirely online. One of the questions we had was most of the devices that people are using, be it a laptop or a standing computer or what have you, where you would fill out this application, they have cameras on them. I know it's shocking. But they have cameras, they have videos that people use. You should be able to take that picture on that device as opposed to going somewhere. Now, the CVS people, of course, hate this, and the Walgreens and all those other places. But you'll be able to take your picture from that device and be able to have it in real time through our security system, verify the facial ID, And it just saves you a lot of, you don't have to go down somewhere now and get a headshot and have the little pictures that you have to cut and then submit it, 3 passport pictures. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do it online entirely for the most part with all the right numbers. They'll be able to verify it for you, and you should be able to get it much sooner. So we're going to make it much more customer friendly. We're not ready to do that yet, but that's really what we want to be able to do.
Isn't that great? Folks, listen, you need to be reading the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and 14. You need to be reading it. It causes all, both small and great, rich and poor. I know you hear it all the time on this podcast. The reason why this podcast is here, believe it or not, is to bring a biblical perspective to politics. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Then the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is being poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Kind of a big name, kind of a big deal. Revelation 13, 16, 17. Revelation 14, 9 through 11. You need to be reading because that's what this is all about. Making everything digitized, a digitized commerce system. To leverage you into a one world commerce system with a singular access point, digital ID, and that singular access point controlled by the globalists in the United States and outside of the United States, controlled by the globalists, so that they can give you or not give you, just like they control whether you're raped or not. They control whether you're raped or not. They control the crime rate. You just saw Biden controlled housing by allowing in illegal immigrants. Then at any time, you can just simply be cut off because you don't comply. Whether it'll come down to a place where there will be a mark on your right hand or on your forehead. But long before that, there'll be a digital ID that they'll call voluntary because at that moment, there's some businesses that don't require it. But then all businesses will then require it because the government will run them out of business if they don't require it. Then you can do absolutely no business without your digital ID, what's called a biometric ID right now, which is basically compulsory inside of Australia, even though they say that it's not. But anyway, that's what they'll do. And then you won't be able to get a dentist appointment. You won't be able to fill up your car with gas. You won't be able to pay your power bill. You won't be able to pay your property taxes without a digital ID. And if you decide you're not, and then there'll be requirements to get a digital ID. A certain amount of vaccinations, certain things you can and cannot do. And you will either comply and get your digital ID and participate in your 15-minute city economy, or you will say no and be arrested or starve to death. That's why Beast 1 and Beast 2, Revelation 13 and 14, third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand. Okay. You're like, why would anybody ever do it? Because it's either that or starve to death. Or live in the mountains living off of grubs, whatever it is you got to do. But anyway, and I'm not getting into the pre-trib, mid-trib, all those different things right now. I'm just telling you that will eventually happen, that people will be leveraged out. And that's the point of everything that you see, whether it's flock cameras or all those different things, is all a digital economy because they can easily isolate you out of a cashless digital economy. That's the point of it. That's why we do this podcast. That's why we do it. All right, 10-12, that's good. All right, what do we got for rants, Aaron?
We got one.
All right, one rant. Has to be Jules.
Yep.
Jules, 21 hours. I saw it. There we go. Did we read? We're not going to.
That was weird.
Oh, okay. It's not going to read it for us?
It didn't read
it. All right,
it.
well, we know Jules. Jules is the matriarch of the rant. So we love it. And prayers for Jeannie. Lord, we just continue to receive her healing. She's going to be healed. She's going to be fine. She's got many, many great years ahead, completely and totally cancer-free. We speak it. We loose it in Jesus' mighty name. Listen, I love you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. 325 people on. I love you. Appreciate each and every one of the 325. Stick around for the post game. It's awesome. A little mix of politics and fun, but stick around for it. You'll love it. Back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. God bless you guys.
You're pulling the tree right out of the ground.
We fight for a country of our own, a new nation, where we choose our own laws.
Here, here, said sir.
Choose our own leaders.
Yes, sir.
And choose our own systems of weights and measures.
Weights and measures, sir?
Yes. Yes, I dream of that one day. Our proud nation will measure weights in pounds, and that 2,000 pounds shall be called a ton.
And what would 1,000 pounds be called, sir?
Nothing. Because we will have no word for that.
Seems like we should have a word for 1,000 pounds, sir.
And yet we won't. Because we are free men. And we will be free to measure liquids and liters and milliliters. But not all liquids, only soda, wine, and alcohol.
Only those, sir?
Yes. Because for milk and paint, we will use gallons, pints, and quarts, God willing.
And how many liters are in a gallon, sir?
Nobody knows.
And, sir, in this new country, what plans are there for men of color such as I?
Distance will be measured in inches, feet, yard, and mile. So 12 inches to a foot?
12 feet to a yard.
If it were only so simple. 3 feet to a yard.
And how many yards to a mile?
Nobody knows.
Okay, well, how many feet to a mile?
5,280, of course. It's a simple number that everyone will remember.
Let's confess, it feels a little complicated, sir. Why not use meters and kilometers?
We will, soldier. But only in certain unpopular sports like track and swimming. For popular sports like football, we will use yards.
Football, sir?
Yes. It's a sport where you throw a ball with your hands.
So in football, there is no kicking?
There's a little kicking. You kick the ball to get points.
How many points, sir?
Sometimes 1 and sometimes 3.
Very confused, sir.
Do not worry. For our new nation, we will have rulers with 2 sets of numbers. Inches on one side, centimeters on the other.
So we can see where they line up.
Yes, except that they don't line up and they never will.
Why?
Liberty, son, liberty.
And the slaves, sir, what of them?
You asked about the temperature.
I did not.
But this is the absolute truth. I did 1,200 abortions, first and second trimester. 1 was for rape, 2 were for incest, about 9 or 10 were for genetic defects like trisomy 21, and all the rest of them were healthy moms and healthy kids. Mm-hmm. People believe what they want to believe, and they don't want to believe that, but that is the truth.
Yeah.
I killed 1,200 kids. How can you make up for even one of them? I can't. So now
I do everything I can to save as many as I can.
Krijgde.
Not allowed on the bed. You no. Yeah.
Okay, outside. Take it outside.
If you can get arrested for hunting and fishing without a license, but you can enter this country and remain in this country illegally, you got a country run by idiots. If you have to get your parents' permission to go on a field trip and get an aspirin at school, but you don't have to get their permission to get an abortion, you got a country run by idiots. If you must show identification to board an airplane and cash a check and check out a library book, but you don't have to show identification to vote in our elections, you got a nation run by a bunch of idiots. If the government wants to prevent and they want to take our guns away, and turn around and send F-16 fighter jets to our enemy countries, take our guns away, and give ammunition to our enemy countries, you have a country run by idiots. In the nation's largest city, New York City, you can buy 2 16-ounce Cokes, but you can't buy 1 24-ounce Coke because 24 ounces of a sugary Coke will make you fat. But you can buy 2 16 ounces. You got a country and a city run by some idiots. If your government believes the best way to eradicate trillions of dollars in debt is to spend more trillions of dollars in debt, you got a country run by idiots.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political or maybe
Podcast is all about. We talk about a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.